Mahjong Gen YouTube channel.
Welcome to Proast Roast, a show of roasting pros. What does that mean? We roast the pros, we roast you, we all roast each other. It's a work in progress. Come along and find out with us together what in the world Jen, Garth, and our guest Mahjong Pro want to say.
So every week we take one hand from a streamer on Twitch or YouTube who's playing on Ronron or Tenho, and we analyze their hands. We go over almost every discard. What should you be thinking about? What should we be thinking about? What should you have discarded? And this week's featured streamer is Lord XP-san, a Twitch streamer. So make sure his link is in the description. So go ahead and click on that link and show him some love, please.
Indeed, and today's special guest is Keijun Nara.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Konnichiwa.
You may know Nara as the most recent World Reach Mahjong champion from Vienna. You may also know him as winner of both the 20th and the 30th JPL Mill Masters tournaments. And he also took down the 20th Big One Cup, just for good measure. He is a general roaster of the competition. Welcome to our show.
Yokoso.
Sekai no Nara? Sekai no Nara? Sekai no Nara-chan?
世界のなるちゃんです。こんにちは。
Very nice.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get right into our first hand. But before that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. We gotta say that every time.
Yeah, please like us.
Okay, here we go.
Wow, this looks like a pretty nice starting hand.
So here we are in the second hand of the East round, and our hero, Lord XP-san, has already discarded a monster into the dealer, and the dealer is continuing. So we're way behind. We still have a turn at dealer left. The Dora is the 4 of dots.
So he has two turns as dealer next.
So when you first look at this hand, then what is the first thing you're thinking, first of all?
もうこれまっすぐ上がりに行ける手ですね。もう3面図あってドラも1枚あって。
So you're not at all thinking like, oh, maybe I should hold on to something for defense. You're just like, okay, go.
そう、そんな感じ。
Okay.
So let's see what happened.
Okay, he picks up a kanchan. Oh, and his weight improves.
Yeah, so it's really like getting good draws right now.
もう来てる。
So I was wondering a little bit about this saving Paso instead of Shun. I wonder here, he's in need of a kama, a head, a pair, right? I wonder how much more useful the 8 is than the red dragon.
この瞬間はパーソ自体はそんなに頭になりづらいんですけど、次に3層とかロー層とか持ってきた時にまた受けがすごく広くなるので、パーソを持っといた方が次またリャンパーソとかサブロッキュー層引いても今度頭になる。
So right now you're thinking that the 8 of bamboos is not so useful, but it could possibly be useful if something more comes in the sozu.
くっついた時に一気に受け入れの枚数が広がるので、これは残した方がいいパーソだと思います。
Okay, okay. 僕の最初のミス。
Oh no! The dealer has declared reach and we have nothing. So what do you discard here?
It's only the 4th draw, and you still have this kind of wonderful looking hand, but you're up against the dealer that you just threw a big hand into. What do you think you do here?
これはでももう現物が1枚もなくて、もう降りるにも降りれない。だから、とりあえずもう1枚なんかまっすぐ勝負行くしかないっていう感じです。
Okay, and when you're gonna go for this hand, then what do you discard right here?
3万か、パーピンか、ちょっとひねって急走っていうのもありますけど、ちょっと通りやすい。
Okay, let's see what our hero discarded.
What did he choose?
He went for the...
急走でもいいと全然いい。
So I think that when he discarded this, he's thinking, there's a few options here. You can change it later to Tanyao really easily.
そうですね。
受けたかなと思います。
Easy discard.
So we come to here.
Another tough decision. Woo.
In this case, I guess it's you're going to want to probably discard the 8 of dots, but what are you thinking about? Does it look like everyone else is folding? And what do you want to look at in this hand?
相手もとりあえずも安全な牌しか切ってきてないんで、 とりあえずまだ無視してていいかなっていう感じですね。なんかドラとかも持ってたらまっすぐ来そうなんで、まだ自分の手中心で進めていっていい段階だと思います。
Okay, good advice.
Good advice, yes.
So I think he's kind of trying to decide what to discard here. Ooh, what do you think about this discard?
Because of the 2 of bamboos, I guess he's thinking that might be safe.
But if he was thinking that, then maybe the 4 would be better at least.
He's going from Ishanten to Lianshanten. I really wonder if he might have misclicked. Like maybe he was going for the 4 because like now I'm not even sure why.
かな。これ、嘘切っちゃうともうメンツ壊しちゃってるんで、ちょっともう上がれないくなっちゃうので。
You're farther away from winning now. It seems like, boy, you're really shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, and it's also not really safe. If it was safe, then maybe you can like break up some sets. This really isn't safe either.
Just to be clear, we were thinking, or Nada-san was thinking, Popin here, right?
パーピン切るってもう当たったらしょうがないって諦める。自分の手もそう高いんで。
If you're really weighing between Popin and Uso, there's not so much better likelihood that Uso is safe than Popin, right?
そんなに変わんないっていうか、もう、わからないんで、この相手のリーチの街のところが。
Good, but I think that's a really important point. Like, even this early in the hand, you have to kind of be ready. With a hand like this, you have to kind of be prepared in case one of your tiles does deal into the other player and not like blame yourself for it. Right. I think that's an important point when you're playing because there's no like really correct answer here as far as safeness goes. So you really to concentrate on your hand, even though there is a reach.
If you want to win, you have to be prepared to lose too.
Okay, so in this case, I think that he discarded because he just thought, okay, I already discarded the 5, so now I have to discard the 4. It kind of looked like that. I think this is also an important part. Even if you make one mistake, don't keep making mistakes. So in this case, it's very clearly, I think the 1 of cracks would be the right discard here. So I often think like that as well. So I understand. なんかそういう経験ありますか？奈良さんはあまり間違いはしてなさそうだけど。
いや、僕も結構最初の頃は間違いしてたんで、でもこれはもうイーマンが通ってるんで、次やっぱ数層はすごく無筋なので、イーマン切った方がいいかなという気はします。
So we've got a final. I mean, this is kind of standard. Now it's Suji. The 8 is Suji, so that's not as strange. That's a pretty standard discard. You made your own Suji. Okay, I'm finally discarding the 1. And the 3 is safe, so now we're getting into like safe don'ts. But I think, yeah, the important thing in this hand is what to do when you've made a mistake or a misclick even. And kind of the mindset that you need to have when you're doing that.
Don't be like Garth. Oh, I already made one mistake. Might as well go full here.
Yeah, I think the rest of the hand isn't that exciting. But I think we might have another discard here that's... But there were, a few points in that hand. So we'll go over them after the hand is complete.
Somebody's thinking about East. Oh, he really did do it.
Okay, this is another thing. Once this player across from you, who has been basically discarding almost only safe tiles until now, except for maybe the 8, suddenly pawns. What are you thinking right there?
これで、ポンで、でもローピンって結構危ない、まだ通ってない筋で、ドラが数ピンで、ローピンで打った場合結構ドラも数ピンも絡んでそうなところを押してきてるんで、ここはもう結構警戒。自分がなんちゃの立場だったら、もうメンツ全部抜いておりますから、ローピンとか、チーソーとかあたり切って、もう折に回ります。
Okay, very good advice. So to the next. See what happens here. Now he's ready! Now he's ready! テンパりました。Just has to discard the 8, but what do you do here? You know the player across from you now is Tenpai. You know the dealer is Reach, and you've made a couple mistakes in this hand.
結構もう、ソーズはもう大体全部通って、両面だとした場合、ソーズはもうほとんど通っちゃってて、あと、マンズでまだ、サブローマンスG1、691か、3筋と、ピンズもまだサブ6級ピン以外は通ってないんで、この自分赤ドラの手なんで、まあこれ、追いかけリーチするのは一応あります。言ってもいいと思います。自分ドラ2枚持ってるんで、ここは今まだトン2曲で展望ないとこなんで、どうかな。
And it's a really tough spot, and it's also really late in the hand.
One other thing I was thinking about, like if he's throwing the 6 of dots there, one reason he might be thinking it's safe after he's seen the 9 is because he has a bunch of the Dora, maybe at least 2 or 3 of the other, 4 of dots. That might be one reason that he would be challenging right there, right?
そうね、やっぱ親の現物のトーンを2枚安全牌消費して前に出てるってことなんで、まあ相当やっぱり高い点もしくは後継の町でテンパイ入ってると思った方が普通かなっていう気はします。
Let's see how the hand ended.
You do.
He does reach.
Oh, he does reach. And safe. Come on. Somebody.
Oh, it was the 9 of cracks.
Wow, interesting. Had he played like I would have pushed, he would have thrown the 9 in earlier then.
出たかも。
The point I want to make with this hand is it didn't end that interestingly, but there's a lot of points in there that probably a lot of our viewers and streamers are not always thinking about while they're playing. Do you have anything that you would like to say to our viewers, or a kind of summary of what we discussed today?
ミスしちゃうのは誰でもしちゃうんで、その後、なんかそれを引きずらないようにすぐミスを取り戻すじゃないけど、ちっちゃいミスを大きいミスにしないように、ちっちゃいミスで終わらせれるようにしたらいいんじゃないかなと思います。
Excellent advice. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Let's wrap it up. That's it for today's show. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks to Nara for showing us how to win a final table, since that's what he does. Thanks to you all for watching, and be sure to join me and Jen again on the next episode of Prost on our journey to someday finally get enough advice to play like the pros.
And if you would like to be featured on Prost, if you're a streamer and you got some hands that you would like us to look at, go ahead and hit us up in the DMs on Twitch, on Discord, on Twitter, wherever you can find a Mahjong Jen, Jen, or Garth with 3 E's. We would love to have you on the show. Unfortunately, we can only do games from Tenho and Ronron. If you have any of those, hit us up and make sure to hit like and subscribe again in case you didn't before.
Also, check out Nara on Twitter. He is on Twitter and he has funny stuff he posts. All right, thanks again, Nara, and we'll see you again next week.
ありがとうございました. Thank you. Goodbye.
Game over.